Welcome to SV Union High School and Junior College.
Welcome students. Standard 6 History, Chapter number 8 states after the Mauryan Empire, Part 2. Today we will see the remaining part of this lesson. So let us start. In the last video we have seen about the three important points, that is, first is the Shinga dynasty, second Indo-Greek kings, and third Kushana kings. In this video, we are going to see about the remaining 3 points, and those are: fourth one is the Gupta dynasty, fifth the Vardhan dynasty, and sixth powers in the northeast India. Now, we will see the next point, that is 8.4, the Gupta dynasty. The Gupta dynasty is believed to have started as a wealthy family from either Magadha or Prayaga, which is now in eastern Uttar Pradesh. Looking at the prosperity of the Gupta Empire, the period is known as the Golden Age of India, marked by extensive inventions and discoveries in science, technology, engineering, art, literature, logic, mathematics, astronomy, religion, and philosophy. The end of the 3rd century CE saw the rise of the Gupta dynasty in North India. The Guptas remained in power for nearly 3 centuries. Sri Gupta was the founder of the Gupta dynasty. Samudragupta and Chandragupta II were the notable kings of the Gupta dynasty. Let us see about the king, that is Samudragupta. Samudragupta was a notable king of the Gupta dynasty. The expansion of the Gupta Empire began during the reign of Chandragupta I. His son Samudragupta defeated the smaller neighboring kingdoms and extended the empire further. In his time, the Gupta Empire spread from Assam up to Punjab. He had also conquered the eastern coastal region up to Kanchi in Tamil Nadu. Due to these victories, his power came to be recognized everywhere. As a result, kings on the northwestern frontier as well as those in Sri Lanka made treaties of friendship with him. Here, treaties means it is a formal agreement or arrangement made between two states. If there would be any danger situation or difficult situation, they can ask for their help in such situation as per the legal agreement. If it is being written in that agreement, as per that they can follow certain things. A pillar inscription at Prayag describes Samudragupta's conquest and victories. This inscription is known as Prayag Prasishti and also as Allahabad Prashishti. He was an expert Veena player. Samudragupta minted coins which had a variety of images engraved on them. In one of them, he is seen playing the Veena. His name, Samudragupta, is engraved on it. You can see here, children, the picture is given. In one picture, you can see that he is playing the Veena, and his name is also engraved on the right side. After Samudragupta, his son Chandragupta II ascended the throne. He extended the Gupta Empire towards the northwest. He also won Malwa, Gujarat, and Saurashtra. He established good relations with the powerful Vakataka rulers in the south by giving his daughter Prabhavati in marriage to Rudra Sen II. There is an iron pillar at Mehrauli near Delhi. It has not rusted even in the course of the last 1500 years. It is an excellent specimen of the metallurgical skill of the ancient Indian people. The inscription on the pillar bears the name of a king called Chandra. It is on this basis that the iron pillar is assumed to be of the period of Chandragupta II. Do you know the Chinese traveler Fa Hin came to India during the reign of Chandragupta II? In his travelogue, he has described the social life during the Gupta period. He says that Indian cities are big and prosperous. There are several guest houses for travelers and also several charitable organizations. The city has hospitals where the poor people get medical treatment free of charge. There are great vihars and temples. People are free to choose any occupation. They move about freely. There are no restrictions on their movement. Government officers and soldiers are paid their salaries regularly. People do not drink alcohol or commit violence. The administration of the Gupta rule is conducted in a proper and efficient manner. In this period, the Bauddha Bhikkhu Fa Hin came to India from China. He has written on account of his travels in India. From his writings, we learn about the efficient administration of the Gupta emperors. So, the Gupta Empire, the Gupta rule was conducted in a proper and efficient manner. That we come to know, children, with the help of the writings which are being written by the Chinese traveler, that is Fa Hin. Now we'll see the next point, students. 8.5, the Vardhan dynasty. With the decline of the Gupta power, many states emerged in North India. The Vardhan dynasty was one of them. Prabhakar Vardhan was the king of Thanesar near Delhi. The Vardhan dynasty was founded by him. His son Harshavardhan expanded the Vardhan empire up to Nepal in the north, up to the river Narmada in the south, Assam in the east, and Gujarat in the west. He had cordial relations with Raja Bhaskar Varman of Kamrup, that is ancient Assam. He had also established friendly relations with the Emperor of China and even sent his ambassador to the Chinese court. The capital of Harshavardhan's empire was Kannauj. Trade flourished during his reign. He spent a large portion of his revenue for the welfare of the people. Every 5 years, he would distribute all his wealth amongst the people. The court poet Bana Bhatta wrote Harshacharitra, a biography of Emperor Harshavardhan. This text provides information on the life and achievements of Harshavardhan. Harshavardhan had become a follower of Buddhism but gave generous patronage to other religions too. That means he respected other religions too. He wrote 3 Sanskrit plays, Ratnavali, Nagananda and Priyadarshika. The Buddhist Bhikkhu Yongchuang had come to India from China during his regime. He travelled to all parts of India. He stayed at the Nalanda University for 2 years. On returning to his homeland, he translated many Buddhist manuscripts into Chinese. Do you know, Yongchuang travelled all over India. He has words of praise for the people of Maharashtra. He writes, "The people of Maharashtra are a proud people. They never forget a favour done to them, but they do not spare anyone who insults them. They will help another in distress without a care even for their own life. They do not harm anyone who takes refuge with them." Now we will go on the next point, that is 8.6, powers in Northeast India. A story in Mahabharata tells about the marriage of Arjuna and Ulupi, the princess of Manipur state in East India. The state of Kamrup emerged in the 4th century CE. It was established by Pushyavarman. His name has been mentioned in the pillar inscription of Samudragupta at Allahabad. Many inscriptions of the Kamrup kings are available. The epics Mahabharata and Ramayana use the name Pragjyotish for Kamrup. The capital of that state was Pragjyotishpur. Today we know it as the city of Guwahati in Assam. Periplus of the Erythraean Sea is a book written in Greek that describes navigation and trading opportunities from Roman Egyptian along the coast of the Red Sea, Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean, including the modern day Sindh region of Pakistan and southwestern region of India. So, this is a book which gives us information about the navigation and trading opportunities from the Roman Egyptian. In the book Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, Kamrup is mentioned as Kirhadia, or the region of the Kirat people. The Kamrup region or the Kamrup kingdom extended in the Brahmaputra river basin, Bhutan, some parts of Bengal and Bihar. During the reign of King Bhaskar Varman, Yong Chuang had visited Kamrup. In this chapter, we learned about the different kingdoms in North India that emerged in the period after the Mauryas. Similarly, we also learned about the situation in the northeastern part of India during that period. In the next chapter, we will get acquainted with the kingdoms of the south of the same period. Do you know, according to the Indian tradition, Kashmir was known as Kashyapapur in ancient times. Greek historians have mentioned it by the names of Kashyapaparos, Kashyapateros, and Kashperia. There is a mention that the Kamboj dynasty ruled there during the period of the Mahabharata. During Emperor Ashoka's period, Kashmir had become a part of the Mauryan Empire. In the 7th century CE, Kashmir was ruled by the Karakot dynasty. Kalhan has written about it in his book Raj Tarangini. Students, we will end up here. I hope so you have understood the lesson. Please comment me in the comment box regarding the lesson. Thanks a lot for watching my video till the end. Keep watching my video. Thank you.